Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the ages, uncovering the mysteries of our collective past. Today, we find ourselves at the banks of the majestic Rhine River, a waterway that has borne witness to some of the most pivotal moments in human history. Our topic for today's episode is the Battle of the Rhine, a conflict that would shape the course of European politics and warfare for centuries to come. As we delve into the earliest history of this seminal event, let us first set the stage. The Rhine River, stretching over 1,200 kilometers from its source in the Swiss Alps to its delta on the North Sea, has long been a conduit for trade, culture, and conquest. The region's strategic importance was not lost on the ancient Romans, who established a series of fortifications and settlements along the river's western bank in the 1st century BC. One such settlement, the city of Cologne, founded in 50 AD by the Romans as Colonia Claudia Agrippinensium, would become a crucial hub for Roman expansion into Germania. In the years leading up to the Battle of the Rhine, the Roman Empire had been steadily expanding its territories, driven by the ambition of emperors such as Augustus and Tiberius. The Romans sought to pacify the regions east of the Rhine, inhabited by various Germanic tribes, including the Cheruscan, Chatti, and Marcomanni. These tribes, with their complex social hierarchies and warrior cultures, posed a significant challenge to Roman authority. The stage is set for a conflict that will reshape the destiny of Europe, as the Roman Empire and the Germanic tribes engage in a struggle that will echo through the centuries. The Battle of the Rhine was not an isolated event, but rather the culmination of years of simmering tensions between the Romans and the Germanic tribes. The Roman historian Tacitus would later write that the Germanic tribes were driven by a desire for freedom and self-governance, while the Romans sought to expand their dominion over the region. In the early 1st century AD, the Roman Empire's expansion into Germania was facilitated by the construction of roads, bridges, and fortifications, which allowed for the rapid deployment of troops and supplies. The Roman governor of Germania, Publius Quintilius Varus, played a pivotal role in the events leading up to the Battle of the Rhine. Varus, appointed by Emperor Augustus in 7 AD, sought to impose Roman rule over the Germanic tribes through a combination of military force and administrative reforms. However, this infrastructure also created new vulnerabilities, as the Romans became increasingly dependent on their supply lines and communication networks. The Germanic tribes, on the other hand, possessed a deep understanding of the region's geography and climate, which they used to their advantage in guerrilla warfare and ambushes. The Roman historian Cassius Dio would later write that the Germanic tribes were a fierce and warlike people, who lived in a land of dense forests and treacherous swamps. As we explore the earliest history of the Battle of the Rhine, we find ourselves drawn into a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and cultural clashes. The Roman Empire's expansion into Germania had been facilitated by the construction of roads, bridges, and fortifications, which allowed for the rapid deployment of troops and supplies. However, this infrastructure also created new vulnerabilities, as the Romans became increasingly dependent on their supply lines and communication networks. The Germanic tribes, led by chieftains such as Arminius, a member of the Cheruscan tribe, who had received a Roman education and served in the Roman army, began to resist Roman rule. Arminius, also known as Hermann, would become a legendary figure in Germanic history, hailed as a hero for his role in leading the resistance against the Romans. And so, dear listeners, we have reached the threshold of our journey into the heart of the Battle of the Rhine. Join me as we step into the midst of this epic struggle and uncover the secrets of one of history's most enduring battles. Welcome back to our journey through the ages, as we delve deeper into the Battle of the Rhine, a conflict that would shape the course of European politics and warfare for centuries to come. As we now enter the heart of the conflict, we find ourselves in the midst of a maelstrom of bloodshed and heroism. The Roman legions, led by Publius Quinctilius Varus, had been steadily advancing into Germania, driven by the ambition of emperors such as Augustus and Tiberius. However, the Germanic tribes, led by chieftains such as Arminius, were determined to resist Roman rule and maintain their independence. One of the most significant battles of this conflict took place in the Teutoburg forest, a dense and treacherous region that stretched across modern-day Germany. It was here in the year 9 AD that the Roman legions clashed with the forces of Arminius and the Germanic tribes in a battle that would become known as the Battle of Teutoburg. The Romans, confident in their superior training and equipment, marched into the forest, only to be ambushed by the Germanic tribes, who had carefully prepared a series of traps and defensive positions. The battle was fierce and intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. However, the Germanic tribes, familiar with the terrain and using guerrilla tactics, were able to gain the upper hand, inflicting devastating losses on the Roman legions. According to the Roman historian Cassius Dio, the Romans suffered over 20,000 casualties, including the death of Varus himself. The Battle of Teutoburg was a turning point in the conflict, marking a significant defeat for the Roman Empire and a major victory for the Germanic tribes. The battle had far-reaching consequences, as it halted Roman expansion into Germania and led to a period of relative peace between the Romans and the Germanic tribes. In the aftermath of the battle, Arminius became a legendary figure in Germanic history, hailed as a hero for his role in leading the resistance against the Romans. The Roman Empire, on the other hand, was forced to reevaluate its military strategy and tactics, recognizing that the Germanic tribes were a more formidable opponent than they had initially anticipated. The Battle of the Rhine was not just a military conflict. It was also a cultural clash between two vastly different civilizations. The Romans, with their sophisticated infrastructure, administrative systems, and military tactics, were pitted against the Germanic tribes, with their warrior cultures, complex social hierarchies, and deep understanding of the natural environment. Join me as we continue our journey through the ages, uncovering the secrets of one of history's most enduring battles. Welcome back to our journey through the ages, as we explore the aftermath of the Battle of Teutoburg and its impact on the development of European politics and warfare. The defeat of the Roman legions at Teutoburg in 9 AD marked a significant turning point in the conflict, halting Roman expansion into Germania and leading to a period of relative peace between the Romans and the Germanic tribes. In the years following the battle, the Roman Empire was forced to reevaluate its military strategy and tactics. The Emperor Augustus, who had initially supported the campaign against the Germanic tribes, was shocked by the scale of the defeat and immediately ordered a withdrawal of Roman forces from Germania. The Romans would never again attempt to conquer the region, instead focusing on consolidating their power along the Rhine River. The Germanic tribes, on the other hand, continued to resist Roman rule, shaping the course of history in the process. Arminius, the chieftain who had led the resistance against the Romans, became a legendary figure in Germanic history, hailed as a hero for his role in defending his people against the Roman invaders. The Germanic tribes would go on to play a significant role in shaping European politics and warfare, influencing the development of kingdoms and empires for centuries to come. One of the most significant consequences of the Battle of Teutoburg was the impact it had on the development of the Roman Empire's military strategy. The Romans, who had previously relied on their superior training and equipment to conquer new territories, were forced to adapt to a more mobile and flexible form of warfare. They began to focus on defensive strategies, building fortifications and walls to protect their borders from future attacks. The Battle of Teutoburg also had a profound impact on the development of European politics. The defeat of the Roman legions marked the beginning of a period of relative instability in the region, as various Germanic tribes vied for power and influence. This instability would eventually lead to the rise of new kingdoms and empires, including the Frankish kingdom, which would go on to shape the course of European history. In conclusion, the Battle of Teutoburg was a pivotal moment in European history, marking a significant turning point in the conflict between the Roman Empire and the Germanic tribes. The defeat of the Roman legions had far-reaching consequences, shaping the development of European politics and warfare for centuries to come. As the Roman historian Tacitus would later write, the Battle of Teutoburg was a disaster of unprecedented proportions, one that would be remembered for generations to come. As we reflect on the significance of this battle, we are reminded of the words of Arminius himself, who said, "We have won a great victory, but we must remain vigilant, for the Romans will not forget their defeat so easily." These words would prove prophetic, as the Roman Empire would continue to pose a threat to the Germanic tribes for centuries to come. Join me next time as we explore the rise of new kingdoms and empires in Europe, and examine how the legacy of the Battle of Teutoburg continued to shape the course of history. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.